It's wake and bake. I'm awake. Now I'm baked. It's Friday. It is 3/25, 2022. It is almost the end of March. I am a little late this morning. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Um, we are 32 minutes late for Wake and Bake, but better late than never. I may not have gotten out of bed until after 9 this morning. I had an oatmeal cream pie last night and it knocked me slap out. So I could still be asleep, but I had to get up. I had to get up. I had to get up and get things going and moving and doing and all the things. Um, Super excited to end off the fourth week of March. This is it's always like January is like 900 years long, right? Can y'all agree with this? Then February, it's like this year's gonna fly by. February's a blink, and then March. March has been long. But as you jump on here, yeah, I didn't. I needed to get my ass up and do stuff. Is what I needed to do. Is what I needed to do this morning. So, as always, as you jump on here, please say hello and tell me where you're watching from. I am live in a couple of places. I'm live here in Facebook in the Peace, Love, and Feast Hometown Hippie Facebook group, where I'm live all the time. It feels like sometimes I know y'all are probably tired of seeing my face. And then we are also live on YouTube. If you are on my Facebook wall, if you could please, once we get done here today, go find me on, it's just Tammy, it's under my name, Tammy Deskins Nelsons, or Tammy Nelson 4091 at gmail.com is the email address associated with it. You can go find me on YouTube, like it, subscribe on it. I'm trying to really build that page up. We are going to start getting some content over there as far as classes and cooking and how-tos and educational series and things like that. They're going to be housed over in the YouTube channel. So you'll want to make sure that you're liking that channel, and I'll zhuzh it up as we go. But, you know, we're a hot mess express, or as I like to say, a spicy disaster. So sometimes we do it everywhere and see what happens, right? But it is Friday morning. It is Wake and Bake. I am when I first wake up in the mornings is good morning is when my hands and stuff. Anybody else that has arthritis and like autoimmune know that like when you lay down and you're still, like the longer you are still, the more like everything kind of swells and hurts, and you have to get up and get it moving to be able to keep it going. And I feel like I told Red, I was like, I feel like if I just don't stop, I'll be okay. It's like an object in motion will stay in motion, and an object at rest tends to stay at rest. But I have, when I tell y'all that I use cannabis in every form as medicine, like Red tells people all the time when you come to our house, and he'll say, F around and wipe your butt and get high. He's like, everything is infused in my house. So he tells people all the time, he's like, I don't ever know. He says, I don't ever know from moment to moment if I'm getting dosed or not. Because even the hand lotion has got cannabis in it in some shape, fashion, or form, because it helps with pain. And topicals are great. And we are moving to get some topicals in the next couple of months, hopefully. So a lot of you have asked for topicals for like hands, a lot of knees, and a lot of hips, and a lot of backs, right? A lot of shoulders, all the things. And it's interesting because I watched this new show last night. Not new to me. It was Life Beyond Death with Tyler Henry. He's the Hollywood medium. It's a Netflix show, and it's really interesting. I can't find YouTube. I will find the link, Pam, and I will 100,000% drop the link here in Facebook so that you're able to click on it and find it. I appreciate that very much. Coffee. So it's interesting to watch it, right? Good morning, Heather. Good morning, everybody. because this new show, I'm watching it, and I've watched like the Teresa Caputo or the Hollywood Medium or things like that in the past, like years ago, like years and years ago, when I had not kind of had my grand awakening, right? To like gifts and like understanding that life is an energies and source and all of the things that now are kind of part of my everyday life, right? Before I kind of had, I said, my awakening is what I tell people all the time. Before I had my spiritual awakening. And I was always like, this is for TV. Like, there's no way people know this stuff. And, of course, so, TV is what I always said about mediums and things like that. I was the biggest skeptic. And that's why now, like, I'm like, I don't even beat around the bush, because here's what I'm going to tell y'all about. Like, tell me in the comments, are you like on a spiritual journey? Yes or no? Like, do you believe in like ghosts? Do you believe in spirits? Do you believe in like people being able to communicate with the other side? Good morning. Tell me, like, do you believe in that stuff? Because not everybody does, and I don't yuck anybody's yum. It's what it is, right? But I was a very big skeptic, right? So I don't know why this is coming up today, but I guess it needs to come up. It needs to come up. And a couple of things are coming in. So yes, Dennis believes. Yes, I believe I can fly. I'm just kidding. I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that came from. That just came out like every time somebody says I believe, like I said I believe, because I don't know why. Like it just comes up, but I can fly afterwards. It's interesting. That was the song when I think Mel, wasn't that y'all's graduation song when y'all graduated, Evan and you? Wasn't it I Believe I Could Fly that y'all sang as a graduating class? Because something about that sticks in my head that was y'all's graduation song. Because about since that time, yes, believe all things. It just hits me. It just hit me one day like a brick in the head. Yes, yes. So I grew up and in a Pentecostal church. I actually grew up with my mom. So my dad believing that you don't have to go to church to be a good person, right? Good morning, Kalima. But my mom growing up, never really having church. My dad grew up having church, right? So my mom grew up with, in a situation where it wasn't like, I never heard her ever talk about church as a kid. Am I high? LOL. No, I'm not high. I hit the bowl once, but I'm not high. I can't remember at the moment. Yeah. So, can't. I think it was Mel. I think I'm gonna ask Evan. I'm pretty sure, but my mom, just didn't talk about. She didn't have church as a kid. My nanny Deskins, I knew, was very religious. They were very Southern Baptist, right? And so I knew my dad grew up very much in church, and he didn't believe you had to go to church. Like he was like, I'm not going to church every day of the week. We just, that's what it was. My mom did not grow up with church, so my mom very much found a home with church. My mom found a church group, a group of people who she went to church with. And it was, here's the thing, like as a child, it was aggravating because like they didn't believe in like pants for women and jewelry and makeup or anything to do with like organized sports, because he said it was of the world. It was a Pentecostal church, right? Now I will tell y'all this. A lot of my like, love of cooking and love of food and feeling like food is about community and food is about love did come from my upbringing in that type of Southern Pentecostal, Southern Baptist, all the churches, because that was part of fellowship, right? I was always part of fellowship, and that was a big deal, like homecomings and fifth Sundays and church stuff, right? But I grew up very much being taken. My mom wanted to find a church home. She thought it was important for us to have those kind of morals because she didn't have them. So my mom like struggled with like having, like she wanted to be a mom and she wanted to have like her ideal, like probably like a Leave It to Beaver kind of like fantasy from her point of view, because she grew up with her mom and dad divorced. My grandmother on that side got married. Yeah. So Heather, you understand what that means? Worldly things, right? Things that were worldly. That's of the world and all this other stuff. And I'm like, we live in the fucking world, so why can't I have it? And my dad always fought against it. So, we were never like really like we did kind of like a hybrid. We were like dirty Pentecostals, I guess. But as like my kids are wearing pants and they're not wearing culottes and they can wear bathing suits and they can play sports. And he actually argued to the church. He's like, hey, y'all wonder why your kids all go ape shit in high school at 18, 19. You keep all your kids like in this huddle. And then at like 18 years old, as soon as they can make a decision, they go ape shit, right? They go off the rails because you're keeping them from the things that keep them out of trouble, like sports and friends and people, right? Yeah. So I grew up, my mom first started like math. We went to Methodist and Baptist and Presbyterians, and I've done Bible school at every kind of church you can imagine. But she was very much trying to find a church home. She found her church home with the Pentecostals, right? And I'm not complaining about them, because let me tell you what, of all the people in my mother's life, who always, always, always were there for my mom, I'm never going to badmouth that church. Okay. Did I agree with their religions? I did not agree with their spirituality, like version of things. I don't believe you can't wear pants. I don't believe you can't wear makeup. I don't believe you can't participate, right? You can't put yourself on an island. But I do appreciate the fact that when it comes to walking the walk, right? Because that's what I don't like about a lot of church and a lot of organized religion, is because they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And so for me, if you're going to claim to be of God, then you need to act like you're of God. You can say whatever the hell you want to, but if you don't act it right, if you don't walk the walk, if you don't help the needy, if you are not there when people need you, and let me tell y'all what, my mom would get sick and there'd be 35, 40 people in the waiting room praying for my mother, right? And they weren't, Pentecostals. They're not sitting there quietly praying. It sounded like a revival in that waiting room. Like they're like putting hands on stuff and holy water. And when you're not awakened, when you're not enlightened, when you don't understand it, when you think it's just ridiculous when you're younger, right? It gets on your nerves. As an adult, I'm like, I appreciate all of that energy. And we used to call my mom a Timex, or a roll, like to take a licking and keep on ticking. And looking back, right? And looking back, those people, the people of the church, that church body, they were praying my mom back to health every time. They were putting that intention into the world that not today, Satan, not today. And now I can look back on it. So I went from, being raised very much indoctrinated with things like, I'm so agree. I'm not a human jumbo. They take care of my parents and their thing. It's not for me. Exactly. So, yep. And so my mom, I started like going against anything religious, right? So then I met my husband. I just was like, I'm not going to church. Like, I believe in God. I know what, I just basically played lip service to the Judeo-Christian kind of belief system, right? Jesus Christ died for your sins. It kept everybody off your back. In the South, you knew what to say, right? And down here in Virginia, in the Bible Belt, right? In Jerry Falwell country, because I'm like less than an hour from Liberty University, right? I knew what to say to like make sure my mom's business did well and not to get people thinking we're heathens. And, I just said what I needed to say. And mom's like, don't. And my mom, if I would have, like, she used to always be like, don't be a heathen. Like, I'm not going to be a heathen. Calm down. But so her big thing was always about being saved and getting to heaven, and don't break her heart and go tell Jesus that you love him. Right. And she was very much a guilt monster when it came to that. So nothing made her happier for me to marry a little Baptist boy, right, who is like deacon of the church, and his parents are part of the church, like, elders in the church, on the board, all the things. So Red and I got together and I started going to that church because that's what you're expected to do. And I'm like, you know what? I can give them an hour on Sundays, take a deep breath, I was doing it though to make everybody happy. And I'm sitting in church on Sunday mornings and my mind is anywhere but there. And then I'm like, let me listen to the message for the message, right? Because here's the thing. The Bible is a beautifully written book. I don't believe exactly the way some people believe about it, but I believe it's a beautiful work of literature. And to talk about it on a regular basis is not a bad thing. It has great tenements, right? It has great lessons in it. It has great parables. It's basically a person who was Jesus was a light worker, right? Jesus came to earth, and if you listen to Jesus' teachings, he was cool with everything, right? He did all of it. It was cool, but being in the church, you have to take it for what they tell you to take it for. And when they started preaching politics from the pulpit, when there was a lot of talking about Jesus, but a lot of acting like the devil is what I tell people, right? A lot of talking like Jesus and a lot of acting like the devil. And I'm like, if you're not going to walk it, then don't talk it. And, I talked about the other week about how my word is my bond and how, being as good as my word. And I'm like, I can't sit here and play this game anymore. I can't pretend. I can't watch you smile in the preacher's face and then talk about him outside, right? I can't be a part of that anymore. I was feeling so broken over it. Like it was becoming a problem for me that I told Red, I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And this is what Heather says. I agree about not having to go to church. The Bible says, go into your innermost part of your home and pray. I don't need the hypocrisy of organized religion, right? Here's the thing. What makes up religion is it's people, and people are hypocritical in general. It's human nature. So because the church and organized religion is made up of humans, and we're human, therefore we err, it's made up of a lot of ego, right? Made up of a lot of ego. I know best. And with the Bible, if you look at any of the religion stuff, right? Religion and politics, it's all about power. It's all about controlling. And I'm like, I started to learn about namaste, right? I started my awakening with the word namaste. Because whenever it was, you did yoga, they would just go namaste. And that was one of the first questions. That was one of the first questions I asked, right? And here's the interest of your body's a temple. We walk with source, or God, everybody. Exactly, right? But here's the interesting thing, right? The first question I had in my awakening, and I wasn't like going on like a yoga retreat. I wasn't doing yoga on the regular. It was just, I saw people all the time signing things a couple of years ago with namaste. And, I was like, namaste in bed or namaste over here. And I was joking, but that was the very first thing that popped into my mind was ask what namaste means. Get the definition of namaste. And the way that it broke down, the person that described it to me is that namaste basically means that the divine inside of me recognizes and acknowledges the divine in you, right? And then from that sentence, the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And here's the thing, Heather. Heather says, when I found my inner power and lost my human ego, it was my true awakening. Let me ask a question. Have you truly lost your human ego, or do you just know how to better control it? Because I don't believe we ever get rid of that ego. I believe that we learn to stop listening to ego. I learned that we stop operating from a place of ego and a place of personality body. But I don't believe that ego ever truly is lost. I don't believe that. I believe that it's there. It's always there, and it's kind of like the dragon that doesn't need to be like the dog in Harry Potter, Fluffy. Like play it some music and let it sleep, right? Yeah, I think that our ego, we just learn to get like the two wolves. Remember, like the Indian poem about there's two wolves inside all of us, and the little Indian child asks the grandfather. He tells that story about the good and the evil, and he's like, which wolf wins? And he says the one you feed. So I think that ego is like that wolf scenario, right? I can control it. Don't listen. It's still there. Just know how to stifle that little demon. Yes, I love that. I'm still a work in progress, right? I still have like ego twitch, right? But so when namaste, was kind of the thing that started the whole journey for me, because it said the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And then I went back to the 10 Commandments. And I went back to source documents on those. And one of the documents that people always say, it's like, like, have no God above me, is what the way it's, and the church I was going to, they were saying the 10 Commandments was one of those, like, have no God before me. But it actually translates into have no God above your own. Namaste says the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. So here's my mantra, right? Here's how I have developed, and my kind of thought process was that if you believe whatever it is that you truly 100% believe, whatever your heart's desire is for God, for your deity, for whatever, right? Just for example, my mom was a Pentecostal Christian. I'm using that as an example, right? That was her God, and she held no God above her God. She held no God above her God. She walked her walk, right? The divine in her needed that organized religion, right? The divine in her, and she practiced the tenements of her religion. So if I'm looking at it, I'm like, yes, you are going to heaven, right? You totally are going to heaven. You're getting your heaven. But they also say that, heaven's like streets of gold and pearly gates, but everyone's heaven is their own heaven. And I said, Mom, I was like, what is your idea of heaven? She's like, well, all my kids are there. My family's there. Y'all all got saved. You're all like, you're all little and all. I'm like, you know what, Mom? I'm like, you have lived your life in a way that you will get your heaven. You will get your heaven because you deserve your heaven. My heaven may look different than your heaven. My God may look different than your God. My walk may be different. But trust and believe in your God that he will never give you anything you can't handle. She said that all the time. She's like, I know in my heart, what she always said to me. She's like, I know. She knew it. Like, she never wavered from this. She's like, I know in my heart that I will never lose one of my children. Because in the Bible, it states that God will never give you a load that you can't bear, like a cross that you can't carry. And she says, I know I could never carry that cross. So she said, I go to sleep every night knowing that I will never bury one of my children. And she never did. And I don't know how she didn't, considering how some of us lived, right? Some of the crazy shit we did. But when I realized Namaste, right, I realized that we each have our own individual walk. And it is not my job to tell you how to walk your walk. It is not your job to tell me how to walk my walk. I am going to lead by example. I'm going to lead by being a light. I'm going to live my life in a way that is pleasing to me. So, I went through years and years and years of playing the lip service and feeling very, very much like a fraud. Very much like a fraud. Like, have a prayer set, and I'm like, I'm sending love and light. Now I say it, right? Versus people saying, would you like to come to like, oh no, we've got a home church. Thank you for the invite. Do you have a church? I'm like, oh yes, we have a home church. Now I'm very honest about it. And let me tell you why, because I told you, right? My word is my bond. Now, another thing that church taught me, right? It was like, deny me before you, and I will deny me before man, and I will deny you before my Father, kind of thing, right? And so when I think about like my walk and the fact that I'm very confident in what I believe and how I believe, and that I don't yuck yum, and that I'm really living in a place of kindness and karma and being good to the universe and putting more in than I get out, and trying to leave this rock that I'm on a little bit better than I found it. I feel like another analogy of how to explain this, right, is that people try to talk around and hide when they are ashamed of something. And because I am so very like steadfast and solid in how I believe and what I feel is right for me, I am not going to pretend to be something that I'm not any longer. Now, y'all know that I'm in southern rural Virginia, and this is just the fact of the matter, right? My sister was in a mixed race relationship. My nieces and nephews are both mixed children, like they're mixed race. I don't give a shit, but 20 years ago in Farmville, my sister was very nervous about telling people about that. It was still like our town is very judgy, and there should be nothing about it. And I was like, you know what? Whenever she was hiding and doing it behind like my dad's back and behind people, we like just not being outright, like sneaking around kind of in her own way. Like she was with him, and then somebody'd walk into the room and she would like go the other way to like not let them say they were together kind of thing. And she was like, why don't you support my relationship with this person? Because I was very much, she's like, what do you think? I'm like, I have no opinion. I don't think it's going to work. I don't want to get involved in it. And she was like, I can't believe you. I never thought you would be racist, is what she thought, right? I never thought you would be racist because you were not supporting my relationship with this person. Like, I really like him, blah, blah, blah. I was like, don't have two shits about what color his skin is. Not a piece of problem with it. I was like, my problem is not with him at all. Like zero, not at all with him. My problem is with you. And she's like, what? Like, what? Like, and she, my sister and I will like go at each other. She's like, I don't, what? And I'm like, you're hiding it. If there's nothing wrong with you loving this person, which there's nothing wrong with you loving this person, why are you hiding him? If I was that other person, I would not want to be with you, because if you loved me, then you don't walk away from me in front of anybody. Deny me in front of, and I will deny you in front of my father, right? That kept coming into me. I'm like, if you're doing nothing wrong and you know this relationship is meant to be and you love him, then why are you hiding it? Why are you lying about it, right? I'm upset with that piece of it. I'm not upset with the relationship. I don't want to get emotionally involved with this relationship and like love this person and be my brother and whatever. If you're hiding it, that's never going to work. If you feel this kind of like uncomfortable around that piece of it, then maybe this is not the relationship for you. And she said, it's just what I thought I had to do to make everybody else happy. I love him, but I don't want to make dad uncomfortable. I was like, no. I was like, if you love something and you believe in something and you want to be with him, you are intelligent enough. You are, you have you're able to have a conversation about it. You should be able to tell our father, who, struggled with it. He just did, because it's how he was raised. It's evolutionist stuff at this point. Let's just be honest. It's what it is, right? I don't ever lie about things. My dad loves my niece, and my dad came around. But sometimes until you know and you understand and you're put in those situations, I'm like, this could be the way that you teach and you break generational curses in our family surrounding this type of conversation, right? That you're in charge of that. And whenever you are tasked to do big things, like maybe for me, like not being a Pentecostal, like not like bless your heart, not blessing hearts and dropping farts, but love and light and all the shite. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? But when you are given that task, right, then you have to take it seriously and you have to stand in it. And it's not always easy. It's not. Right? If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, it would just be the way, right? Talking about like shortcuts on that movie Road Trip. I think that came up the other week, right? That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. He's like, why are shortcuts so difficult? And the guy's like, because if it was easy, it would just be the way, right? So there are no shortcuts through this life, right? There are none. And here's the thing. We try to let me go around this hard thing. And you take this path that goes around the hard thing and you get to the top, and then the hard thing is like there waiting for you, right? Sometimes it's just facing it head on and getting it done, and the hard things. And that's what I'm going to talk about. It's all coming around to this craziness that I didn't know I was going to talk about today. The hard thing, right? Doing the right thing is not always the easy thing, right? But you have to do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. And that's what this is all about, right? It is about doing the right thing. It is about that's my religion. That's my namaste, right? That is my namaste. It's like, let me try to do the right thing all the time. And and a lot of times we learn, and what we think is right is not right, and you learn from that, and you pick up and do it again. But you just always keep moving forward. You always are true to yourself. And that's the big thing, right? That is the big thing. It is honestly, to me, it is about living in a way in which I feel aligned with Source and the way that Source reacts with me. Because what I might hear to do, what might come to me as my message may not be the same message that Mel gets, right? Right? May not be the same message that Heather gets. May not be the same thing that Dennis hears about. Because we all have different paths. We all have different hard things, right? Because here's the thing, honestly, right? Somebody might be a genius when it comes to computers. You might be like, you can go out and build a website in all of 3 minutes. It's the easiest thing in the world for you to do. For me, that's the hard thing. But for you, having to cook Christmas dinner might be stressing you out starting in October, right? Because that's hard for you. It's the easiest thing in the world for me. There's nothing more I look forward to than cooking big meals, right? Right. Different experiences to be had. Because everybody everyone is living in their own reality. Everyone has their own perceived life. Your life is designed by your experiences through your lens. And that's why I always say, you don't yuck anybody's yum. Because I don't know what's your yum and what's your yuck. It is not mine to tell you. It is not mine to tell you. And even whenever we're like, do the right thing, and I look at you and I'm like, that is not the right thing, that is not a decision to make. That is not my decision to make. Me deciding that is the wrong thing is based on my perceived world of it. Now, I will tell you this. If I don't feel that it's right, and in my reality it's not right, I will choose not to be a part of that not right. I'm like, I'm not going to be a part of that not right. That's their thing to do. Like, that's on them. And I will speak my mind and give my opinion if I am so moved to do something. Like, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm getting in the information. You do with it what you please and move, and God bless, right? And go forward. But, everybody has their own walk in this world. Now, speaking of the hard thing and different walks, and I brought up a lot of history today. Today is my baby brother, baby brother Jamie. His birthday's today. Speaking of the right thing, the wrong thing, you can't walk somebody's walk. My brother is in prison right now, spending a lot of time because he didn't choose to do the hard thing. Right? He did not choose the hard thing. His path was different. He suffered with addiction from an early age. He allowed opioids to take hold, right? And it ruined his life. Today is his birthday. Tomorrow, I'm going to go spend time with him tomorrow. I got an appointment set up to go visit. And people are like, he did this, he did that. I was like, he did, but he is more than his mistakes. He's still my brother, and I still give him love, right? Because everyone is worth redeeming. And I am going to give a shout out to somebody here, to Melanie Faircloth. I love this, but I'm going to pull your name up here, Mel, because I want to say this. Melanie told me something one time. It stuck with me. Mel came to my house in Richmond. I was having this big mystery hostess party, and I was like, come on up. She's like, I'm coming. So she came up, and I was so excited to see her. I hadn't seen her in a while. We kind of reconnected. And she made this comment. We were talking about how the human race is the only race that, the only species that continues to punish their members after they have, like, so you go to jail and you've served your time and you've done your due diligence and you come home, we will hold that grudge against felons and stuff. We retry and we repunish them over and over. And I guess Mel probably doesn't, do you remember that conversation, Melanie, about that? About how we were the only species that did that, how we just continue to you make a mistake and we remind you of it till the day that you die, right? You made a mistake. Think, I live in a small town. Tell me below, if you can can you relate to this? You see a family out and one of the kids had a little rough time in high school, getting in trouble and fighting and maybe alcohol or whatever. And you see them out and somebody goes, well, that kid was that family's got a whole lot of problem. That was 20 years ago. Like that person who was on some dumb stuff at the time, who got in a little bit of trouble at 18, 19, and mom and dad bailed him out and got him straight. He's sitting there with his wife and 3 kids. He's had a good job, but we're still talking about the same bullshit. Why? He did what he had to do to get his life together. But because you want to remind him of the nonsense he did at 18, he's got to continue to live that, to retry that. Right? That is another piece of my journey. It's like, my brother he's serving his time. He is serving his time. And, he told me that he's like, I don't belong in here. I'm so, and he's so himself and not on drugs. And he's like, oh my, what in the hell? Like, I don't need to, I'm so sorry. I'll go talk to schools. I will go like administer to like junkies. There's something more. There's a reason why this happened to me is what he said. So anybody that wants to send a card, anybody that wants to send a letter, I always encourage that. He needs people to, and it's his birthday, so I'm going to do the ask. He got some cards at Christmas he was super excited about. But if anybody wants to send an Amazon book, a card, a letter, anything, let me know. I'll be glad to get you his address out at Sussex 2. But whenever Mel said that, I really, that was like the beginning of my journey. I just started my journey. And that was like an entire journal page, because I was very guilty of holding grudges against people. Like that's who that person was. I'm not going to be associated with that person because that's what they did. And it really, really resonated. And you never know the little pieces and parts of things that are going to stick with people and that are going to matter to people and that are going to make a difference. So every time that I do these lives, sometimes I have a message comes in early and it's like, make it make sense. And we fill out, I have like a board and I have all, like, I really do. Like some days I have my whiteboard that's back there and I get up and I'm at night, or I have notes. I've even printed out notes on paper because I get a message and I just start typing it out and I really go through that message. Some days I get up and it's like, you're going to get up late, you're going to feel overwhelmed, and it's going to be the best message you ever had come out. I don't say it, right? I just go with it. Heather, I met my husband 25 years ago. He was fresh out of prison and had no one. I gave him a chance, and he has been the best father and husband I could ever ask for because I took that leap. But his family has never left his past, and they have missed a lifetime of wonderful human. That gave me goosebumps on my arms, Heather, and that makes me know how much of a beautiful human being you are, right? Because we are so entrenched of judging, and we're so taught to like believe that people can't change, and that things can define people. Now here's the thing: fool me once, shame on me; fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. So Mel said, it's like when my dad came back into the picture before dying. I didn't know that man. I could have been upset and felt time was wasted, but I was able to let him be there for me and fix his wrongs in his head before passing. And I love that as well, Mel, and, I think that it's very difficult sometimes to forget and forgive, right? We get caught up on but what did you do to me? And I always say, like, it happens through you, not to you. There's a blessing and a lesson. Red always, our wedding song, Red's had some trouble in the past, right? When he was younger. And never, just a lot of like little stupid stuff, a little fighting, a little like arguing with his wife and not paying child support. And, I can't see my kids, I'm not paying, and a lot of just nonsense back and forth. Some DUI, some possession stuff, just little silly stuff. And, when I was coming out of college with my bouginess, right? With my bouginess, I said, here's the rule for me. I was like, I'm pretty easygoing. I was like, there's 3 things a guy cannot have. I was like, number 1, he cannot have any kind of like prior record. I'm like, I don't want anybody in jail. Like I would say that. I said, no record, no kids, and no crazy ex-wives. Guess what? I married. He got crazy ex-wife, couple crazy ex-girlfriends. He had 2 kids by prior marriage and had a record. And I'm like, my mom's like, well, you're gonna get exactly that. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then what did I get? Right? It always works out that way. But today it was not what I thought it was going to be. Today's message was not what I thought it was going to be. It's not like a light, like let's smoke some weed kind of lesson. But it is about knowing that, that's great. It's about knowing that you are on your path. You are walking your path. But I'm going to encourage you to be brave and to own the path that you are on. The reason, like I said, that I don't ever not say exactly what I'm thinking as far as when I say love and light, sending light energy, that I am going to meditate. When I say that, like I'm meditating, it's how I say praying, that I'm going to send some good energy, all of that kind of stuff. And the reason that I tell people exactly what my spiritual journey is, like I'm not a Christian. I don't say I say I'm not a Christian. I am a believer of namaste is what I tell people all the time. I'm a church of namaste. My divine recognizes your divine, and I'm okay with whatever your divine is. I will encourage that, right? Because like I told my sister, right? If you know that it's right for you, then don't lie about it, right? That's what makes it taboo and weird and all the things, right? Because people who are walking a different path, who are walking an alternate spiritual journey, maybe with tarot or crystals or mediumship or psychic abilities or whatever your new, and maybe it's not, maybe you are a Christian. I love you. God bless you, right? I don't have a problem in the world with it. I understand it all. I'd be fine going to church with somebody. I love a good message, right? People don't invite me to church like that. I don't want my church to blow up. I'm like, it's not gonna blow up. But because I have learned, right, even with the pot, even with all the things that I do with Pure Romance, is that I am very much proud of who I am, and I am all the things that come along with me. So my mom always taught me, right? She's like, I don't ever want you to be something you're not for me. She's, I spent my entire life trying to be something that my mother or my family wanted me to be. So I was never okay just being me. But I want my kids to know that I don't care, good, bad, and ugly. I won't always like it, but I'll always love you. But I always want to know who you are as a real person. I don't want people to tell me stories and me to be like, that is not my child, and it really be you, because I don't want you to think you've got to be a certain way for me. So, when I tell you to go out and be your authentic self today, that's a hard thing to say, but that's the right thing to do, right? When I say do the right thing, even when it's hard, that's a big one, right? It is being your authentic self. I can tell y'all, I come here and I am so authentically myself. My husband's like, why do you tell all of our business? Like he is a private person, and I'm just like, I'll tell everybody everything. And I said, because through whatever is going on sometimes in my life, the things that I share, I feel like someone else will benefit from that. Someone else will see that just normal people do normal stuff, and that they're not alone, right? Every time that I've told something that maybe was not so flattering, has always been a message behind that going, hey, I needed to hear that today because I was feeling in my feels, and hearing you say that made me feel better, right? And so that's why I come here, and I'm as authentically me as I can be, because I am not ashamed of who I am. I am proud of who I am becoming, and I want you all to know that you should be proud of who you are becoming. And if who you are becoming is completely different, because it's supposed to be, right? No two journeys are the same. Heather's not going to be me. I'm not going to be Heather. I got to turn this fan up. I am got a hot flash going. Because I have to wear, we have a no bra rule on Wake and Bake, but I can't be out here. I can't be out in these streets with my boobies everywhere. I can't be out in these streets with titties hanging out. So I have to put a scarf on. It's just a a bra cover. Okay. Um, so it is wake and bake, and I'm awake, right? There's isn't real logical reason we should lie about they are, but people do it. People do it to me. Like I know when people are doing dirt, right? When I have people who hang out with me pretty regularly, who maybe have been coming like off of like some struggles, and I'm always safe and I'm always home based to come to. Like I've made some mistakes. I'm like, and I don't judge. I'm like, I'll take you in and love you through it, right? Um, but then when I notice like they start doing that, like they get their feet back under them, they start making like some maybe not so great choices. They got their money straight again, they got their feet under them. They start going out again, maybe doing the old stuff they were doing. They will literally like hide from me, and I'm like, why are you not talking to me? Oh, just like you don't want. You're not being really you, right? I always like when people have like some like I have this one friend who when I don't talk to her for 2 months, I'm like, she's changed jobs and she doesn't want to hear my mouth about like sticking with something and like giving her the pep talk about sticking it in there and like you're never gonna like learn if something's for you if you don't give it a chance. Because I try to like help, right? Like, and she's one of those people, and I'm like, she got a new job. But it's like, how do you know? I'm like, 'cause she ain't talked to me in like 3 months. So, and last time I talked, she started that like, I'm not real sure about this place, and I'm like, yep. That's what it is. Like I don't judge. I'm like it's what it is. I give you my friendly advice, right? Like some advice if I see you upper limiting yourself, if I see you making the same mistakes, right? But yeah, and I don't see any real logical reason. Here's the thing, right? If who are you lying to? The person that you want to believe that lie is you. When you lie about who you are and you make like things up about yourself, the person who you are trying to make feel better with all of that is yourself. You are trying to make your brain not be mad at you for you're lying to you. You're saying that lie out loud because it's something deeper inside of you. So the only person you're hurting with your lies in that situation, I think, is yourself. And it's kind of sad. But I'm going to tell y'all, go out and live your most authentic life, right? Because when you go out and live your most authentic life, you're going to find that the people who are attracted, who are meant to be around you, will automatically, like a light, like a moth to a flame, you will attract what is meant for you and you will detract what is not meant for you. And that is why people lie. They attract things that are not meant for them. And that's when their life gets kind of fuzzy, right? When you think about it, when you try to be something you're not in relationships, those relationships are always doomed to fail. They're always doomed to fail because at some point the real you is going to come out, or you're going to be mad because you're not able to live authentically because you have created this lie. And that's why it's so important to be who you are. And there's times whenever I've changed, right, in our relationship. And I know that there are times when Red does not like me. I know it. And conversations we've had, I'm like, don't love you any less, baby. I just love me a lot more. And this is what it is. And we work through it and we figure out a way to move forward. But yeah, I mean, it's important to be your authentic self. Speaking of your authentic self, I'm going to do something. I'm going to show y'all something that is hilarious that I pulled out of the bucket only because this is I gave it to my husband. But I got some new stickers in. Some new like, fun stickers for the boxes. And I went to pull stickers yesterday. When I came out of my false self people and spirit just dropped in. Yep. When I came out of my false self people, spirit just dropped in. It's crazy, right? Because what you're doing whenever you become authentically yourself and those people fall off is you're making room for the people that need to be there, for the things that need to be there. When you're living a lie and you're living inauthentically, you're having all this clutter and it's clogging out your true blessing, right? Yes, ma'am. Life has been a gradual climb over the past year. It's crazy exciting. I'm just sticking to my guns and staying on my path. Love it. Let me show y'all this sticker that came in this, and I lost it because Red has said this before. And when I saw this, I was like, I never thought this was a true saying. I said, Red, I was like, I think that Google listens to our conversations, and there's a sticker factory in China that makes your stickers. He was like, why? I was like, look what came in the thing. Higher than I was like, I can't send this out because I don't like that word. But the only person I'd ever heard say that was my husband. And when I pulled this sticker out, I was like, I was like, I got a sticker for you. I got a sticker for you. He was like, what? And I was like, here. And he was like, oh shit, that's my sticker. I was like, yes. I was like, that is your sticker. And so I pulled that out. So it's I was like, what? And I was like, but really? Is it that high? Because it's kind of like, it should be like giraffe neck. I mean, he's like, shut up, Jamie. I was like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. So, you've heard one other person say that. I had never heard anybody but Red say it. And I thought I was going to die. It must be a redneck boy saying, I don't know. But anyway. Oh, okay. It is Friday at 10:22. I got to get my ass in gear, go take a shower, get things going. Got some new orders that came in this morning. Don't forget, if you get them paid by lunchtime, you can get them today. The pineapple upside downs are gone. The whoopie pie 6-packs are gone. But be on the lookout because pineapple upside down cupcakes, they're going to go back on the menu full time next week. You'll have to at least buy 3 to get them because I can't make one. You know what I mean? So I'm going to figure out a way so they don't go bad. They freeze pretty well, though. Which I found out they freeze pretty well. So that's one of those things that I can freeze and have for you. So on that note, I am going to get off here today. I'm going to go see my brother tomorrow. I'm going to take the weekend to do those kind of things. I'll be back on Monday for Wake and Bake. Be back on Sunday for Sunday sermon. And I hope that you go out today. You live your most authentic life, that you remember to do the right thing, even if it's hard, right? Love yourself. Love those around you. Remember that peace comes from within, right? Love yourself and everything else kind of falls into place. All right, don't forget, okay, if I have it ready, you can get it today, but if it's not placed by noon today, I won't even invoice it till Monday. So just go ahead and let me know what that will be. So get that in for me. That really help out. And then I can get that done today for you, hopefully before 5. So on that note, let me get my ass off of here and go get busy. I love each and every one of you. Peace, love, and feast. And as always, stay elevated, y'all. See y'all Sunday.